Hi, I'm Don Rittner.
And I'm Justyna Kostek, and this is
History
History on the Road.
So, Justyna, if I asked you where the oldest rodeo and the oldest dude ranch was located, what would you say?
Wild West, most people would say.
But they'd be wrong.
Right, because the oldest dude ranch is actually in the Adirondacks.
And the oldest rodeo is in the Adirondacks. So let's go find them on
History on the Road.
In the heart of the Adirondack Mountains, where rugged peaks meet lush forests, a unique chapter in American history is unfolded. A chapter written not in the language of industry or war, but in the rhythms of hooves, the crackle of campfires, and the quiet harmony of nature.
For over a century, the Adirondacks have been home to a special kind of retreat, the Dude Ranch. These working ranches, where visitors could escape the hustle of city life and experience the cowboy spirit in the wilderness, have become an iconic part of the region's cultural fabric.
From the early 1900s to today, these ranches have offered a taste of the frontier, blending the beauty of the Adirondack wilderness with the timeless traditions of ranching and outdoor adventure. Here, visitors don't just get a glimpse of life on a ranch, they become part of it, forging a connection to the land in a simpler yet extraordinary way of life.
We're going to journey into the past and present of the Adirondacks Dude Ranch, exploring how these ranches have shaped the region, transformed vacation, and left a lasting legacy of adventure and community in the heart of the mountains.
We're going to talk to Cindy Cameron, town historian for Stony Creek, and get the background history.
So Cindy, we're here in beautiful Stony Creek, New York. Could you tell us a little bit about the history of the area?
I could. So we broke off from the town of Athol, New York, and we became our own town in 1852. One of the reasons that we became a town was because of a person named John P. Bowman from Cuttingsville, Vermont. He came over to the town. Our town was mostly wilderness at the time, and it had a few places, but he was actually able to build a big tannery in town. He had a huge mansion in town, a carriage house, a cooper's shop. He really made the town. They did probably 40,000 sides of leather per year, and he was one of the probably 3 to 4 tanneries in the area that was like really great. Brought people to the area. That was probably in existence till 1921, and then they took it apart. Another thing that they did here was the railroad was a big thing, and he could get his wares out to the railroad, which is just down the road a little ways from where we're located. They had a broom handle factory. A lot of the folks to do food-wise, they did farmers were obviously in the area. A lot of different folks, blacksmiths.
How about mining? Any kind of mining?
No mining.
Because I know the Adirondacks is kind of famous for that, isn't it?
Yeah. No, not in Stony Creek. Stony Creek is, no. And so a lot of it was the interest, so in town at one time, we had 5 churches, we had a general store, there's 18 cemeteries in town.
18 cemeteries?
18 cemeteries.
What was the population of the town?
So our population has never really been that big, but at the time, there was probably over 1,000 residents. But now when it's year-round, it's probably about 600. So we're really a very small town.
With 18 cemeteries.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
only
So at one time we were a big deal. One of the things that, so we had the Stony Creek Inn, a lot of,
like summer resorts, that type of thing, or?
well, there were. Back in the day, there were camps, and people would come up from the city and they would go to the camps.
People would come up from New York City, so when they did so, where would they stay?
So in the beginning, they would stay at just people's houses, and then as it went on and they talked to their friends, more people would come up, and so then residents in the town started establishing little camps, ranches, all different kinds of names that they called them. But some people even had put pools in. But at first they started with the lakes and the creeks for the swimming part of it. But in the beginning there was probably 4 or 5 ranches or camps in the area. So we had Bit and Bridle Ranch, we had Lazy J Ranch. There was several camps that they called over the mountain, and so this was also, they would come into Stony Creek, and then another 11 miles out was where they could go over the mountain and they could do hunting and all that. And that kind of was, the first part was when the hunting people came in, and then it would talk to their friends and they would bring it, and then the wives would come, and so it kind of started out that way. Up in that area of Harrisburg, one of the people that was pivotal in that was John H. Earhart. And he had a place up there that they called the Stony Creek Country Club. And he also had the Stony Creek Inn. He was very connected with Earl Woodward, who came from Forest, Ohio. And Earl was also purchasing different things. And so that's what John did. And so they purchased different areas and had this business in Harrisburg. So John H. Earhart was pretty pivotal in the hotel business. And one of the things that I talked about was he did the country club up in Harrisburg, but he also did the Stony Creek Inn, and he had his hands in a lot of different transactions in the town. And one of the things, so he had a son, his name was John E. Earhart, and he was also interested in this business. His father, John H. Earhart, died in 1939. John E. Earhart, in 1942, opened the Thousand Acres Ranch. It was originally called Buena Vista Farm, which means beautiful view. So in 1942, John and Esther Earhart purchased the Thousand Acres Ranch. They were, originally when it started, it wasn't necessarily a family thing. It was more they were trying to get people from the city, wanted to get away from it all, and they would come up here, but they were looking for singles. So it wasn't really a family-oriented thing. They wanted the single girls to come up. And so single girls, what do they want to see? Cowboys. So they would get cowboys from the west. There were some local cowboys also, but they would come out west and they would just come up for the weekend, sometimes the week, and they would ride horses and they would swim and they would take hikes, and they had 3 meals a day. It was just kind of like a really cool thing. In 1949, they started up on the hill doing roping and rodeo events, which was another draw for the guests. They had lots of activities here. They had archery, badminton, volleyball, baseball, just kind of lots of different things. In 1971, they put a golf course down the road, 9-hole golf course. It was really, back in the day, a big deal. And for Stony Creek, it was a big deal because generations of residents worked here. So the big boom for the Stony Creek residents were, Thousand Acres was a big employer. And so whether they were helping to get the rides out, whether they were working in the laundry, whether they were waiters, waitresses, chambermaids, this was a big employer at the time. And so a lot of Stony Creek residents worked here. And then as it evolved, it became family oriented. And then generations of families came here. And then they became friends. A lot of things that happened also were people that came up from the city met the cowboys that were here. And so marriages came about, and then they stayed in Stony Creek, or they moved back west, or that kind of thing. I actually met my husband here.
Really?
At Thousand Acres. He was the corral boss for the barn. Jim Cavanaugh was also someone who was pretty pivotal. He came here in 1954 from Livingston, Montana, and he was the person who ran the barn. So he was the foreman. And then my husband was the corral boss who took care of getting the rides out, etc. They helped with the rodeo, and they would come down and they would, back in the day when the singles would hear, the cowboys would come down and they would dance the night away. And just, so when old Jack Earhart was here, it was kind of a rule that the help couldn't fraternize with the help, because they didn't want you fraternizing with the help. They wanted you doing the guests that were here to entertain the guests. He passed away in 1967. His son, John or Jack Earhart, took over for him then. They also had a sister ranch, Sitting Bull, which is just down the road, that his brother Gary had that one. And they have ran that pretty much nonstop since 1942.
So the same family's running it
Yes, they have been running it for the same, up until...
since the 40s or 50s?
Nope, they ran it until 2017 when Jack passed away. And then after that, it kind of lay dormant for a little bit. And then someone else came in and purchased it. And now they're trying to do a revitalization of the way that it was. At one time, when it was a full house, there would be over 300 guests on the ranch. 5 to 6 rides a day. They had, when they had the rodeo or roping up on the hill, Labor Day weekend, it would be just packed with people there. They had a big buffet. It was just like the place to be. And of course, Urban Cowboy in the 80s, that kind of helped to generate it. And so it's kind of had little ebbs and flows of, back in the day when it was Roy Rogers, 50s, whatever, everybody wanted to be a cowboy, and then it kind of waned a little bit, and then the 80s it came back. And so but each time the ranch is kind of evolving around that. And now they're trying to be with the times of, because in each room there weren't the televisions, you had a phone you could call the office, but so they're trying to evolve into modern day, but yet keep the Dude Ranch part of it. So they want to be kind of have Wi-Fi for them, but they don't want people looking down all the time. They want them to enjoy being out in the Adirondacks and enjoying the ranch and all the activities that go with it.
Yes, that's really exciting.
It is.
Do you know how many rides a day do they do?
So now they probably do at least 4 to 5. I know that when we were here, they had at least 6, and it was slow ride, medium ride, fast ride, and they had to show the corral boss that they actually knew how to ride, because there were a lot of people that would come up and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know how to ride. And,
yes.
And then once they saw, they're like, no, slow rider. And they used to do pony rides for the kids. But yeah, that was kind of the place to be, was up at the barn. Everybody wanted to be up there around the cowboys and the horses. And that was one of the things that brought the boys back from the West, because then they go back out west and they talk to the boys out there and they're like, oh, you got to go to Thousand Acres. It's such a great place, so much nice people. And then the boys would stay right on the ranch in the bunkhouses. And so they were here. That's where they were all summer. So they met the guests, they met the townsfolk. They got their meals here.
Was there any famous cowboys over the last, since the 1950s?
Well, Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-0 stayed in Thurman, which is the town over. No.
There were like no famous cowboys that we know of? Like Roy Rogers never visited?
He never came here, no. But there were a lot of cowboys who worked here who went on to do, great things, but not necessarily a Roy Rogers or something like that. But like I said, we were the back in the day, and that's what they're trying to bring back now, is back in the day we were the happening place to be was at Thousand Acres.
What what makes the Adirondacks such a draw, for something like this?
Well, I think that, the fresh air, just the beauty of it, um, and they kind of have a captive audience also. I mean, you come to the ranch and you're here for a week, and you're here, and so you can go to your room and you can relax, you can go swimming, you can go hiking, you can ride horses. You got 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Um,
So I would assume it would be mostly city people then that would come up here.
Yes. So city,
Like the big cities, like New York.
Connecticut, New York City, Long Island. I mean, there are just a lot of people came up from the city, and like I said, and then they became friends. Or actually, a lot of people moved to Stony Creek because they liked it so well,
Because of the beauty.
And the beauty, yes, absolutely. You got the Hudson River in the back. They could take the canoes out.
I noticed it's a smaller Hudson River up here.
Yeah.
Because I'm from the Capital District.
Yes.
A little bigger.
A little bigger,
So
yeah.
this is kind of where it starts, right?
Well,
A
at
little
Lake
further
Tier the
north,
Cloud,
right.
Lake Tier the Clouds. But this river, even though it looks small, could flood at times also. So that was always a concern. One of the things that was a cool thing for the guests is they used to have horse holiday, which means on Sunday and sometimes on the Wednesdays, depending on when, they would let the horses out, and they would run them down to the pasture, down to where the railroad station is. And they would just have a guy stand in the road, stop the traffic. They would open the gate, and the horses would run down the main road and to the pasture, and there'd be another cowboy there opening the gate, and they would go in and have the day off. So that was a big deal for them to see the horses go down the road. It just was something to see. It was really great.
Are there any wild horses in the area just living free?
No,
Never
not
been
really.
any?
No.
Because I think the closest place where the wild horses live is in Adirondacks Island, Maryland.
Yes.
Have you been?
I've heard about it and always wanted to go, but I've never got there. But yeah.
Sure, a lot of wild bears around here.
Wild bears running around.
That's true.
Is it really 1,000 acres, or is it
No,
just called this
no,
way,
it's called it's just called 1,000 acres, but it's not 1,000 acres, but yeah.
How long has it been called 1,000 acres?
Since the Earharts had it in 1942. Before that, it was Buena Vista Farm. It was Stony Creek Recreation Camp, where they would have, there's a lot of the original buildings are here, so the duplexes and the cabins would be places where that the girls could stay and the kids could stay. Before that, it was just a private person had the land, but then over the years, the Earharts ended up with it.
Would this be considered one of the oldest dude ranches
Yes.
in the country, or at least on the East Coast?
I would think so. Yes, I do.
You say it started in the 40s.
42.
1942. Yep. Wow.
Yep. So it's been here for quite some time. So when I talked about the railroad, one of the things that they're doing now, which is really great, is the rail trail, and that goes out of Thurman Station, and it's a way to use the railroad tracks, and it's where, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but they just get on and they ride it like it's a bicycle.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they go from Thurman Station to 1,000 Acres, and then they're able to go in and have a drink, have a snack, look around the area, and then while they're doing that, they're turning the rail trail trucks around, and then they're going back. So that's kind of another way that they're involving.
How long does it take to go both ways?
Probably about a little over an hour. But it's pretty cool. I did it because I wanted to see coming into 1,000 Acres again.
Right.
And it's a beautiful ride, a really beautiful ride.
Well, maybe we could do that today.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that they're trying to do to, like I said before, be cutting cutting edge, but still stay rural, still stay country, stay dude ranchy, whatever. So I do give them a lot of credit for trying to bring back the Western way of life, and I do think that the people that are in charge now are really doing that. And it's good for our town, you know, like heads in beds, beds in head, whatever you want to say, heads in bed. So that helps our town too. So it's just a great place. For me, it's always had great memories. Real great place.
Well, thanks, Cindy, for giving us the history.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, after our talk with Cindy, we sat down with Kate Bartow, the manager of 1,000 Acres Resort Ranch. So, Kate, you're the manager of the 1,000 Acres Ranch Resort. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, so my husband and I manage 1,000 Acres Ranch. And what would you like to know? I mean, there's
What do you
so much
do?
to know.
You
What
come
do we
up-
do?
Yeah,
Yes.
what do we do? when
What
we
do
come
we
up
do?
here?
Okay, let me see. Well, when you come to 1,000 Acres Ranch, you basically have the best time of your life. Yeah. You can horseback ride. We have kayaking, tubing, pools, trails, hiking.
And there's a railroad thing here.
And there's railroad, yes. They stop here. They come to the Red Dog Saloon.
The Red Dog Saloon.
Yes.
Typical name, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good name.
Yes.
What more do
perfect
you
name.
want?
Right.
Yeah.
And you have the Hudson River here.
We do. We're right on the
Although
Hudson River.
you call that a river. So I'm from the Capital District. We have a river.
Oh.
This is like small.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least we can drink out of ours.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, touche.
Yeah, touche.
You're right. Yeah,
Uh-huh,
yeah.
yeah.
We, when I was a kid, we used to watch the sewers empty into the river.
Yes.
And it would be bubbling. And we used to think it was hot water, you know,
Oh,
boiling
of
water.
course.
But it wasn't.
No.
It was the millions
Beautiful.
of eels trying to eat all the
Yeah,
stuff coming
wow.
out. Yeah.
Hmm.
But it's a little cleaner than that now.
Sounds like a beautiful place to
It
be.
is.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll stay with my smaller version.
I think you're
Smaller
probably,
and cleaner.
yes, I think
Yes.
that's
Yes.
a smart
Yeah.
thing to do.
Is it
So-
really 1,000 acres?
Okay, so it was always 1,000 acres until a few years ago. Previous management kind of sold off bits and pieces of land. So I think we have around 800 or something, 800 and something, but we do. We're at the ranch.
We're in the
I mean,
ranch.
hey, so
As long as
we
it's not a bear, it's okay.
we actually have a couple of bears that have been visiting every day.
Oh,
Yes, I just rode by up there and there was a baby bear up in our pasture.
Really?
hmm We didn't want to find the mom, but
no.
they're black bears. They're harmless up here. So,
Yes. Yes.
That's what they all say.
I mean, that is what they say, but
Yeah.
you know.
Until you get them mad.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as they see me, they just immediately are overjoyed.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go. There's,
yeah.
there's Kate.
Yeah, there's Kate.
there's
She's
Kate.
fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice human.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So-
won't eat her.
No, no.
What style of riding do you do here?
Okay, so we do Western riding.
Western.
Yes. We do Western because Western is just very practical. So if we have to catch a cow or if we have to go and catch horses or jump something, or it's much more practical to ride Western just because you have your horn and it's just very solid and sturdy. So we ride Western here.
But you're used to not Western, right?
English.
English.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
been
What's
riding
what's the difference between English and Western?
English is very technical and Western is very work oriented.
Cowboys.
So practical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes. Yep.
And Kate, you mentioned earlier to me that you specialize in natural horsemanship.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, so I believe I train horses a little differently. So it's, yeah, I kind of go off of feel. So there were things that I learned from cowboys and cowgirls all throughout my life that I took, and there were things that I learned from natural horsemanship, men and women, and I just kind of created my own way of training, and it's very beautiful, and it
Wow.
works.
But
A
now
gentle-
you said you didn't grow up horseback riding here, though, right?
Yes.
It was a
Yes,
Haiti,
here. Well,
right?
so my dad is a farm boy from Michigan,
Oh,
and my mom is half Haitian, half Irish wild beast from Florida. and
From Florida.
they created me.
Oh, wow.
So I spent my time between upstate New York and Haiti. Yeah.
And did you ride horses in Haiti?
Yes. I trained a couple of
It's
horses
the
in
same
Haiti.
Western style, or is it?
No, bareback. Oh no,
Oh,
I had
bareback.
nothing. No,
That's the real thing.
no, just bareback
Right.
and a couple of ropes that I made a bridle out of. Yeah. But it was very cool to be able to come back because I left here when I was 16 and I would come back in the summers, but I worked here as a kid as a wrangler. So I wrangled up here and then I, went all over the world and then
you wrangled the job.
and then I wrangled the job. Yeah. So my husband and I talked about it and it's a huge undertaking. But he said, "Let's do it, baby. Let's do it." And so we did, and we took over the ranch a month before we had our firstborn. So we have a
Oh,
son.
congratulations.
And is he riding yet?
Oh yes, yeah. 5.5 weeks old, I had him up there with me. So yeah.
So where do most of the people come from that stay here? Like from the big cities, or?
Yeah, mostly from the city. Yeah, we have a lot of people that come from the city, Connecticut. All over really. We have people come from Florida. We have people
there
come
regulars?
from other countries.
Is it always new people? Or
no,
do you have like
no.
regulars?
We have people that have been coming here for generations.
Wow.
So it's very cool to listen to people's stories where you're getting the perspective of people that are coming here for the first time.
Right.
And then you also get the perspective of people that have been coming here for, they'll say, "Oh, this is my great Grandma Helen, and she was here in the beginning."
Right.
Yeah. So
Just before the war.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my grandfather built that over there. No way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's very cool. It's very cool.
It's kind of similar to the teepee. When we did the Route 20 story, there was a teepee on Route 20 that was built in 1950. And so generations and generations have stopped there and go, when I was a little kid, my parents stopped here, so here's my little kid. And then when they grow up, and then they bring their little kid. Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing, right? You just get these, if it's a great experience, then you want everybody to experience it.
Yeah. And this is such a different experience because we keep it very raw and very real. And I don't feel like there are a whole lot of places left in this country where you can go and feel really free.
Right.
Like I want people to drive down the driveway. I want them to feel freedom. I want them to be in nature. I want them to feel healed. I want it to be so much more than just a resort experience.
Right.
I want it to be a life changer.
Yeah, because when you hear a resort,
it's not this.
It's the swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's, playing table tennis.
Yeah, and we have all of those things, but I want people to feel the core of the place. Yeah, it's deeper. It's deeper than just swimming in a pool.
Right.
It's the adventure.
You can swim in a pool anywhere.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
You can swim in a pool
but
anywhere.
how many places can you swim in the Hudson River?
Yeah, not many.
Not where I'm from.
Not many. Yeah, and you can kayak across and go to the islands, and it's really cool.
How many trail rides do you do per day?
It depends on the amount of guests. So there are some days where we only have two trail rides out a day. There are some days where we have 6 that go out a day. So it's just one after the other. And we do 1-hour rides. We do 2-hour rides. We do stopover lunch rides. We do Hudson River crossing rides. Yeah. And we do walk, trot, and fast rides. So there, not a whole lot of places still do fast rides.
Yes.
So we do. Yeah, we'll go. We will go. Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
I want an adventure. I'll take you.
Yeah.
I'll take you.
I'll watch.
You can watch. Yeah,
I'll
you
watch.
can smile.
I'll hold the
You
horse.
couldn't even watch though because we'd be so far in the
Yeah.
mountains.
Yeah.
We'd leave you in the dust.
That's true.
Yeah, you'd say, hey, wait for me.
Right.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be gone.
Wait for me, Wild Bill.
Yeah, hey, Wild Bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild Bill.
Wild Bill. Well, I'm dating
Hickok.
myself. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was a TV show.
Yeah, no,
You're
I
too
follow.
young.
Oh, no, I follow. I never
you
had
do.
TV, but I do follow.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, galloping in nature, I feel like it's one of the most ways that you can actually experience freedom in life.
Well, especially in the
Yes.
Adirondacks,
It
too.
Yeah.
is.
This
Yeah.
is the oldest mountain range in the country, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, this is as old as it gets,
yeah.
and as rural as it gets,
I mean,
too.
yeah, I don't know about the oldest. Is it the
Yeah,
oldest?
yeah,
Is it really?
It's 1 billion years old.
It's the oldest mountain
And I
range.
think it's
Wow.
the same rock that's on the moon.
Holy smokes.
Anthracite granite.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, and if I'm wrong, I'll edit this out.
Yeah, if you're wrong,
Right,
please
but
do.
I'm pretty sure
and
I'm
edit
right.
me out as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Yeah, it's the oldest rock. It's the oldest
Wow.
mountain range. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
why
it's
they're around it.
Yeah. And that's why we have so, you know, people get here and then they get mad about Wi-Fi and they get mad about those things.
Yeah,
But
right.
we are in the middle of nowhere here.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, like
Yes.
we have
But
no
that
cell service.
seems like that's what you want to do, though. I mean,
It
if you're
is.
coming out here in the middle of the
Yes.
Adirondacks,
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't have Wi-Fi.
That's how I feel.
You know?
I feel, and like eventually I would love to not have Wi-Fi here because I think,
Well, you know what you do?
yeah, you have conversation.
Well, you have you put a cabin somewhere, and you say, for those who really want to be out, no Wi-Fi.
Yes. Yes.
No charge for that idea.
Yeah. No charge for that.
Right.
Hey, well, it's recorded, so now I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we get a free room.
Oh.
You can stay overnight.
Yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah.
think about it.
No, but don't you think that's a good idea? Because
Yeah, I do.
I'm sure there are people that just,
Well, we're gonna do.
they don't
We're
want,
gonna do
they're coming out
glamping.
here.
So we are gonna have glamp sites. Glamping. It is faux camping. So it is camping where it's this beautiful white outfitter tents like that you see out west.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but they have beds in them and they have a
Oh.
dresser, but no electricity.
Yvonne
or-
does that in Sharon Springs.
Yes.
Yes, we
So
saw
we're gonna
that.
have 3 different sites, and those will not have Wi-Fi.
Good.
That's what I do. I put
Yeah.
a cabin way up on top, like the most remote part of your,
Yeah, and say there you
and
go.
say, there you go.
How
No
many
Wi-Fi.
horses do you have, Kate?
48.
48.
Yes.
Wow.
48, and we're looking to buy about 20 more.
Wow. I love that. What kind of horses do you usually adopt?
Quarter horses.
Quarter horses.
Yeah, quarter horses, because they're solid, they last. We have some draft horse crosses. We have a couple. We have a Morgan.
Morgan.
We have
yeah.
some Appaloosas.
Any
we have
Mustangs?
some paints. No, we don't have any Mustangs. Mm-mm. No, I would like to work with some of my friends out west and
the
get
Blackfeet.
and get some
yeah.
Mustangs out here and do some
Yeah.
clinics, training
Yeah.
Those are
them.
the first horses
They're
here.
removing them now from the
I know,
lands.
I know.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
they're
you're
killing
aware.
them off.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
So that's why we thought about maybe adopting, I don't
Yeah.
know, half a dozen or
Yes.
a dozen and
Yeah.
training them and then using them here.
That's
you
a
know,
good idea.
because they
God.
would be hardy. They would
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you have anything like carriage rides, or what about winter? Because I'm sure the winters are pretty brutal.
Yeah, the winters are pretty brutal. So
So you'll have like a sleigh ride or something?
yeah, so our bar is open Wednesday to Sunday in the winter, and people can order food. And it's we keep it very local in the winter.
Right.
However, we've redone so many of the buildings that they're now winterized. So we
Okay.
are going to start
Oh.
being able to
Yes.
house people during the winter.
Well, you do cross country skiing.
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
know.
cross country skiing. We want to maybe do an ice rink. You know, snowmobile trails. We have a lot of.
Yep.
Everyone uses our trails for snowmobiling. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah, and
Make
then
it,
people
make it a
use
year round. Yeah.
yeah.
Make it a year round resort.
yeah
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate that word.
ranch.
A year round ranch.
Year-round ranch,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no resort.
Well, once we buy some more cows, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
we're
so
gonna
you
be hardcore then.
Supply your own milk.
Oh yeah, own milk and own meat.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, and
But
decorations.
then you gotta get pigs and chickens.
Well, no pigs.
No.
Can't do the pigs now.
Okay.
No, too many flies. So we'll do the chickens.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, then we have chicken and eggs. What the heck? You can't ask for more than that. Fresh
No.
food. We have a big garden. Yeah.
Oh, so you
we
supply
do-
your own food then?
Yeah,
Your
we
own
use a
vegetables?
lot of our produce. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have your favorite horse?
I have 2 of my own up there. So I have
Ah.
Wildfire and Gypsy. Wildfire is out of control, and so is Gypsy.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I just let them be wild because I can ride them, you know. So,
Right.
but this year, I had my baby on Gypsy, and we were riding, and she was so jiggy, you know. She
Yeah.
was that I said, okay. So I started working with her, and now she's sweet.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I have to be able to ride with my baby. You know?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, of course, of course. You have to get a horse.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Bring it to the ranch, Thousand Acres Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any endurance rides competitions in the area?
See, no, not a whole lot. You have to go a little ways for that. And we have actually, our barn manager, Brandy, we've talked about that because we think that that would be fun to have people
Absolutely.
come here. Well, we're rebuilding the rodeo arena now.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah.
So
because-
next year we'll have rodeos as well.
Yeah, because
Wow.
we went over to Painted Pony, interviewed them, and watched the rodeo.
Yeah.
And it, you know, so there's like a real legitimate sort of competition network.
There
in the
is.
country.
There is. Yes.
And would you be part of that?
Yes,
or
we would.
Oh, you would. Okay.
Yeah. So we would be in with the barrel racing and the ropers and everything, do jackpots and things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And
It
when,
would be
when
really
do you
fun.
think you're going to have that done?
By
Yeah.
next July, yeah.
Oh, but
Because
also by next year.
we've already started working on it.
Oh.
What's the date today? Well, whatever. We get the rest of the panels and everything in this week. So yeah, we're gonna go to town.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna make it awesome up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the rodeo, and then we want to do a guest rodeo too, where guests can join in, you know, and try
Oh.
barrel racing.
How
or-
many
Yes,
famous?
yes,
things.
because there's no places to learn barrel
There's
racing.
nowhere.
There
Yeah,
is, and
yeah,
whenever I ask
yeah.
someone, they're always like, I grew up doing it. But
Yes,
how?"
yes, it's
So
the
what are you
worst.
don't grow up
Yeah, what are
doing
your
it?
techniques?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm very curious about barrel racing, actually.
yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. Do you breed your own horses?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet, but we do want to. We want to have it where the brand, the 1,000 Acres brand,
Yes.
is a legit brand.
Ah.
Yeah. So we want it to be, you know, our own cows and
Right.
our own
Yes.
breed stock for horses and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you do that? I mean,
We just start.
you just start. And
We
then
just start.
How many generations does it take though before you can say 100% 1,000 acres?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. Well, because even any horse you buy now, I mean, this is from this ranch, but
Right.
it's a,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
highbrow cat or, you know,
Yeah.
tiger lily or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like in a nutshell, what would you say to like the general public about coming here? What are they gonna experience?
Ooh, what would I say to the general public about coming here? It's free. It feels like freedom here. And it's raw, and the staff is amazing, and we're joyful, and it's family. Like when people leave here, like people end up crying, and because we all become so tight during their stay that, you know, and it's so cheesy because everyone says, oh, you know, oh, it's like a ranch family. No, it really is. It really is, because it's gritty, it's raw, it's adventure, it is life. Yeah, I really want, in this world of social media and Wi-Fi and internet and, you know, politics, this is a place where people can come and just be as they are, where it's just, yeah, there's no facade, there's no, you know, you don't wake up and put makeup on, you don't wake up and do your hair, you get in the barn and you saddle up a horse and yeah.
That's a
Freedom.
great answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
spending some time with us.
Yeah. Thank you
I
for
think-
having
I
me.
think we'll be
Thank
spending
you for coming.
some time.
Thank you.
Yeah, how fun. Yeah, welcome to the ranch.
Before we left 1,000 Acres for the day, Kate gave us a tour of the ranch, and then we went over to the Red Dog Saloon for some food and drink.
Out with the river bend, it's up with the end of the sky. It's left Nebraska and over crest on a little patch of heaven way out east.
Justyna decided to ride the bull, but I knew better. Before we could leave, Justyna wanted to see the corral and ride the horses. She grew up in Poland, working with horses when she was a youngster. I used to patrol the Albany Pine Bush on horseback back in the 1980s.
walk this way.
But there was only one way to end this episode of History on the Road, and that's riding off into the sunset.
Because everyone checked out today. So it's like, I'm just...
Happy trips to you until we meet again. Happy trips to you. Keep smiling until then. So who would have guessed that you could see a rodeo in the Adirondacks in upstate New York?
And a dude ranch. But this is just what we experienced, and it's just another proof that there's so many cool things in the Adirondack region.
So let's go find some more adventures on
History on the Road.
Okay, okay. You pooping? Of course. Did I poop too?
Oh yeah.
Wait.